How's it going today, guys? Eric Maples here, and today I'm going to have the opportunity to enlighten you guys on the book that I've had the chance to read over the course of the last 8 weeks, known as Presenting to Win, written by Mr. Jerry Weissman. The book takes us, the readers, into a different frame of mind in a way, and it takes us to a place that makes us think about how we're portraying ourselves to the audience that we're presenting to and also to the people that are affected by what we're saying, and also how our companies, our families, and our lives are overall affected just by the way that we present ourselves to other people when giving presentations in any given environment. The author, as I stated earlier, is Mr. Jerry Weissman. Jerry Weissman founded Power Presentations in the year 1988. Jerry Weissman is also the world's #1 corporate presentations coach. A corporate presentations coach is a man or woman that goes into the workplace and teaches other companies the correct ways to present yourself when giving presentations to potential stockholders, stakeholders, potential customers, and just overall making sure that the employees of the company are operating at the highest possible efficiency. One of his earliest efforts was the Cisco IPO's Roadshow. The Cisco Systems IPO Roadshow is a traveling roadshow that Mr. Weissman began putting on, and it taught the audience how to present themselves in a way that would be respectable and appropriate in the workplace and in life. His techniques has helped thousands of firms develop and deliver their mission-critical business presentations. So over the course of the last 30 plus years, Mr. Weissman has been able to visit over 500 different Fortune 500 companies, ranging from Yahoo, Netflix, Cisco, Microsoft, and many others. He has done over 500 roadshow presentations to the general public, and he has written over 30 different books, with the most famous being Presenting to Win, which is the book that I'm presenting about today. To sum up Presenting to Win was not just a book that told one story from cover to cover as we're usually used to reading. Presenting to Win was more individual lessons and individual books put into one overall book to form Presenting to Win. In my opinion, each chapter tells its own story and teaches its own lessons. Topics in the book range from the WIFI, which stands for What's in It for You, and I find this as the most important topic in the book as a whole. The WIFI tells the audience what's in it for you. There's a few different triggers that set off a WIFI. There's 6 of them to be exact, and those triggers are, this is important because, and at this point, the presenter would fill in the blank with the WIFI, which provides the benefit to the audience, so that both parties involved in the conversation are both mutually beneficial. The next trigger would be, what does this mean to you? And then at this point, the presenter would explain why what I'm presenting would be beneficial to you, the audience. Why am I telling you this? If I'm telling the audience a certain topic on, say, why they should buy the product that my company is selling, then that's when I would give you the WIFI trigger, which is why am I telling you this, and I will then explain why. The next WIFI trigger, and the 4th one on the list, would be who cares? And then at this point, I would explain to the audience why you should care. Why you should care, for example, to buy the product that my company is selling and how it will be mutually beneficial to both parties. The 5th WIFI on the list is so what? And if the audience asks me so what, I will then have to explain why, again, the product that I'm selling is both mutually beneficial to my company as well as your company and your stakeholders. And the final WIFI trigger on the list is going to be and. The question and can mean anything in the world, and in this point, if we're giving a presentation and our audience asks us and, that is when the presenter should then fill in what the WIFI is and why it is then there beneficial to both parties involved. Brainstorming, as we all have known since probably elementary school, brainstorming is just throwing together all of your ideas as well as collaborating with other colleagues, other coworkers, and such to come up with the best possible solution to each given topic. Also listed in Presenting to Win is the 16 flow structures. I'm not going to get into all 16 flow structures because we'll be here for a very long time, but basically what a flow structure is it's making sure that the audience is flowing well with the presentation. So it's the presenter's job to make sure they choose the right flow structure given the environment of where they're presenting, the audience they're presenting to, depending on ethnic backgrounds and where they happen to be in the world, because each individual region in the world has their own different customs, and we want to make sure as presenters that we are not offending anyone, and we want to choose the right flow structure. We want to make it easy for the audience to follow. We don't want to overload the audience with too much information on the PowerPoint itself or whatever we happen to be presenting, because then the audience will then become overwhelmed and they'll lack those very crucial and important details. And the final tip for flow structures would be the best way to express importance of flow is to start with an example. To give your audience a sense of where you're coming from, you're going to want to start with that example so that everybody then there is on the same page. And communicating visually. We can all communicate with our words and what we say, that's the easy part. But communicating visually is more of those non-verbal triggers. For example, you don't want to have closed off body language while presenting. If I was to be standing in front of you and I had my arms closed and my legs crossed, then I would appear to have closed off body language. But if I'm engaging with you and making eye contact and nodding my head to show interest in what the presenter is saying, that is then there communicating visually, and it then there shows proper body language. My perspective on what I learned from the book is probably around the same as many of yours will be after you have the chance to read the book. How can you apply what we have learned in Presenting to Win when you're at work? Being able to apply these lessons learned before giving a presentation to the board of directors. What I mean by this is you're going to want to be able to apply what you've learned from Presenting to Win, whether it's the leafy triggers, the flow structures, or any other topic that's listed in the book. You want to be able to make sure that you're using all of these tools before presenting at work so that your superiors will then there see that you are operating at your highest efficiency level and you're going above and beyond for the company. Now, how can you apply these lessons from Presenting to Learn in the classroom? Take into account all the lessons that are in the book so that you will maximize being the best presenter you can be. So going along the same lines as at work. Before giving a presentation in class, you're going to want to make sure that the presentation is presenting to not only your fellow students and your peers, but as well as the teacher or professor or whomever is grading your work. You want to make sure that you're giving the best possible presentation. And how can you apply these lessons at home and in life? Again, going along the same lines, treating each new day and each new group of people you meet as you would any presentation at school. So if you happen to be at the grocery store and you're talking to a group of people about whatever you happen to be doing that day, you want to make sure that you're treating them the way that you would also like to be treated, and you want to make sure that everybody is on the same page and everybody is understood and their opinions are felt. Some scriptures that go along with not only the book, but just personally for my life that have helped touch me and move me into a closer place on my spiritual journey with God would be Philippians 4:13. I can do all this through him who gives me strength, going into every day knowing that he is up there watching and helping us do all that we can do, gives me personal strength knowing that I always have someone watching over me. Psalm 34:14, which has been one of my more personal favorite Bible verses over the course of the years. Turn from evil and do good, seek peace and pursue it. I feel that if everybody took Psalm 34:14 into account, the world would be a much happier and more peaceful place. To me, when I read this, it just makes me think the little things in life you just need to take them as a grain of sand. and just seek the peace that the Father would want, and just moving on from each individual given just just the bad stuff that happens day in and day out. Luke 6:31, do to others as you would have them do to you. This one I feel is just basic human, just being a human being. Just treat other people how you would expect to be treated. If you treat people with respect, love, and happiness, then I'm sure you will receive love and happiness back in return. But if you treat other people with disrespect and you treat them in a rude way, I'm sure as well as getting the happiness back, if you were to treat them nice, you will definitely be getting anger and hatred back towards you. So if everybody just treated each other with respect, the world would be a much more respectful place. And that is all I have for you today, guys. I appreciate you listening to me, and I hope that you all get the chance to read Mr. Jerry Weissman's work, Presenting to Win, and I hope that it's as beneficial to you as it has been to me and my career to date. Thank you.